Hello, it is Monday, May 8th, 2023 at 8:28 a.m. Eastern Time, USA. I'm Mitch Miller. This is my video journal. Today, I just want to talk a little bit about the banking issue for French Creek Farms. We tried to open an account at Clarion County Bank in Franklin, using Ken's EIN number for his business, French Creek Farms, but it would be in my name. We're having issue finding the EIN receipt from the IRS. Hopefully I can get in Ken's email and find it today. But I noticed when you go to apply for an EIN, it asks if you're a sole proprietor or an LLC. So I'm hoping that this won't be an issue, but I think Ken got his EIN, employee identification number, when he was a sole proprietor. Then through a conversation with the lawyer who incorporated the business, she said that you don't need a new EIN to become an LLC. That's just for tax purposes. So we'll see what the bank says, whether we need a new EIN or not. Might have to reincorporate the whole business or appeal to that law agency, Schaefer Law Firm. Say, hey, you made a mistake, we can't open any bank accounts because we don't have the right EIN. So we'll see how this all plays out. But as for right now, I think all funds for French Creek Farm are going to Nick Nahay's account to be held until we get this banking situation figured out. Hopefully it can be resolved in the next couple days, but who knows how long it'll take. Alright, I heard a sound blurb of President Biden criticizing the Republicans' debt ceiling law that they passed through the House. So there's a number of cuts, including 28,000 federal law enforcement jobs would be eliminated. Now, as you know, I'm not against this, especially with artificial intelligence coming to prominence. It can investigate far more things than human investigators probably. I guess my main point here is, did the Republicans prescribe that all cuts from the FBI should be male? Right? Like I propose in my Femme Party novel, the FBI should be entirely female. You have 5 major intelligence agencies in the United States federal government. What's it going to hurt if one is entirely female? Right? Just like 2 branches of the military should be entirely female. Cuts down on sexual harassment, sexual assault. And what are you afraid of, guys? An all-female investigative branch of the federal government might investigate males? Let's look at the statistics. Men break more laws than women. There's more men incarcerated than women. So if you have an all-female federal investigatory bureau, it'll be less corrupt and less corruptible, right? It's common sense. Look at the statistics, look at the facts, the figures. Then they might actually investigate white-collar crime and all these powerful men, how they don't pay women equally, and the crimes they're committing on a daily basis. So I guess what's the point of all these anti-trans laws and saying that people having preferred pronouns is too woke, not caring about preferred pronouns? What's the point of all that, Republicans, if you can't simply state all cuts, all people laid off from the FBI must be male? Right? You want to say male, female, so why can't you put that in your legislation? Any cuts, any layoffs at the FBI must be male. Or no female shall be laid off from the FBI, if you want it to sound better. Did they do that in this law? I highly doubt it, because men probably wrote the law. Just like all laws up to date, Very few females wrote them, and mostly men wrote all the law. Alright, that's my blurb about I published on my Mitch for Mayor site my opinions on what the Supreme Court and what the Democratic leadership should do in regards to current events. I hope you'll refer people to that, get us on a more transparent, anti-corrupt government track. So another thing I heard on NPR, in Argentina, in South America, there is an anarcho-capitalist politician that is starting to gain some power in Argentina, and people are saying it's because he's the only one that says we need to completely change everything, start over. Now I'd like to caution Argentina about that. I work within the existing Constitution and point out how we should follow these words in the Constitution to bring transparency about in our government. It should have been done years ago. So I work with the existing government structure and Constitution to try to promote change for the better. I would recommend that for any nation in the Americas. I took a course at Pitt that studied Latin American democracies, and most of these democracies mimic democracies in Europe. They're mostly multi-party democracies, and they're pretty sound in their setup, right? You should be able to find wording and things in your Constitution and in your current law that you can promote to bring anti-corruption policies to fruition. I'm happy to work with Argentina on the Periscope anti-corruption policy, the Anti-Corps anti-corruption policies. I caution lifting up a politician that wants to completely reestablish a government. You might go from a multi-party system, which is much better than our two-party system in the United States. More opinions are expressed, more viewpoints are seen and heard, and there's more distribution of power to more of the actual people. I would caution that, so I hope South America is careful with completely starting over, because you could end up with a two-party system instead of a multi-party system. That's all I would say. A lot of those democracies I'm trying to learn Spanish. I don't speak a lot of Spanish, but there should be wording in a lot of these constitutions and amendments to the constitutions that can be brought to the forefront to transition to an anti-corrupt style government. Alright, something I saw on a Twitter feed, I believe, is President Obama putting probably the Medal of the Presidential Medal of Honor or something around the neck of a man named Newt Minow, N-E-W-T-M-I-N-O-W. And apparently he was honored because he was one of the antagonists for satellite television, right? He organized the first satellite link-ups for television, and probably the first satellite networks for television, for live television broadcasts, simulcasts, things like that. He passed away, so he was in the Twitter feed. So that's someone that we know was involved in satellites. We can look into Newt Minow, look into his dealings, look into his contracts, see if he ever formally asked permission from Russia or China to send up communication or television satellites, right? Or did he just claim eminent domain and manifest destiny and coordinated these satellites to go up in the air, right? It's for the good of the country, good of the population. We don't care if we break a contract with Russia and China to have, like, did he try to set up with the ground-based broadcasting system a way to have a huge debate on whether we should keep sending satellites up in the air? And with the production of the cable information system, the coaxial cable and the fiber optic cable, you kind of didn't really need satellites. You really don't. There's cables under the oceans going to all the continents. You don't really need satellites. The only thing I will argue you might need satellites for is like the Hubble telescope satellites to search the space for an asteroid that might strike our planet. So I'm not totally against having things up orbiting the planet in space, but it should be for the defense of the entire planet, not for the looks like my mom got a turkey this morning. Not for the promotion of production of wealth, basically of very few, right? For very few to make money off of something that everybody should agree on should be up there, right? The fortunes of the few outweigh contracts with other countries. Having debates and forums about how we progress with space technology. But as I said before, we made it a race. Capitalism is all about competition. We made it a race. The United States won the race, so now we can send up as many satellites as we want, right? Instead of being about peacefulness and intelligent debate on how we proceed with sending up satellites, promoting artificial intelligence, incorporating artificial intelligence, so on and so forth. Right? We're in a tech race with China, right? That's all the politicians talk about. We want competition with China, healthy competition. Why don't we work with China to, say, distribute solar panels all over the world? We're in a climate crisis, but not everybody will agree with that because of our media structure in the United States. And again, that's why I should be at least an employee of the FCC, so that we can work on fixing this media situation and get a state-funded media program focused on individual lawmakers out there into the atmosphere. All right, so apparently the military is not going to act anytime soon. They're not going to fund me. So I put it to Hollywood, right? Now, Hollywood is on strike. The writers are on strike. A lot of productions are shut down. Maybe the promotion of this video journal will go out to more people because there's not as much late night talk shows and things like that. Maybe this will get out to more people. But Hollywood's kind of shutting down right now. I've wrote the novel Femme Party. That's available through my podcast where I read it all. It's available through Amazon for 99 cents. And it's set up like a screenplay. It's basically a skeleton framework for at least one season of a streaming television series. So what I propose to Hollywood is, why not make this streaming project and grant the writers union everything they ask for, right? Could we have individual productions funded by Hollywood actors where the contracts are set up, where the writers get everything they ask for? Then we shop that out to the networks like Netflix, HBO Max, or whoever, right? Is that possible? Well, then we're entering the world of contracts. This actor can't fund this because it'll breach their contract with this studio, so on and so forth. I realize it's a mess, but you could just break bad and fund this low-budget production in Western Pennsylvania this summer, and we can make our own contracts and then shop it out to a network. Everything the writers want included in the production, and show that we'll do it. We'll meet the demands. If you'd like to discuss this, I realize French Creek Farm isn't celebrity friendly. You can put RVs and trailers on that property, but we have 3 porta potties, that's the bathrooms, no shower facility, no water really to speak of. A much more suitable campground is called Vacation Land. It's directly across the street from the long quarter-mile strip of causeway that cuts across Lake Wilhelm that I propose in my novel Femme Party for the race strip for Racing for Change, where we convert old vehicles into electric vehicles and drag race them for pink slips. Now, I'm not proposing you put up your trailer. That was just an idea to help out with Ken's campground. I got other ideas, robotics programs, things like that. But we can fund, that's the idea of Femme Party. The ideas are solid, and we can promote them through this streaming television series, and the celebrities and myself can profit off of the ideas on it. So whether it's a robotics program we promote, there's all kinds of new ideas coming every day that we can write into this thing. And whether it's garment sales, apps, other things, that can all be split and shared by the people that fund this television series. So it promotes it, but the product's really there when people search it after watching the television series. We have it all set up and ready to go. So Vacation Land's there. Bring your trailer, pull it off of your production that's frozen right now. Bring your trailer to Western Pennsylvania, and we'll form a coalition to produce this television series and get it done by the end of the fall, right? That's my proposal to Hollywood. The powers that be aren't acting, so I put pressure on the military, put pressure on the government. I got to bounce back and put pressure on Hollywood now too. They could act. They're not. The directors of Hollywood could act. Right, the directors of Hollywood have been warning about a technology takeover for 50 years through sci-fi, Terminator, things like that. But the actual takeover is happening, and it's not a bunch of robots killing humans and blowing up buildings. It's artificial intelligence writing scripts, right? They're writing the scripts, they're taking writers' jobs. The very livelihood that these directors took advantage of for years and made movies on. So it's an interesting time in history. The last thing I'm going to talk about is back to government people or whoever, college students, whoever. This summer, I have 4 kayaks at my disposal in Utica. I have my dad's truck. He has that some of the time, running his errands. My dad's truck that can take these kayaks up the creek to Carlton, to the Carlton Bridge, and people can kayak from Carlton down to my grandfather's house, who lives right on French Creek. Pull them up into the backyard, leave them there, take off in your car. I also have my grandpa's Ford Explorer now. That's in my name. I can build a roof basket type structure on top of that, where we can load 4 kayaks. It'll be harder to load than in the back of the truck. We can load 4 kayaks in there. I can fit 4 people in the Explorer, take them up if my dad's using his truck, right? So as I said in my podcast, which I just released, about the nonprofit solar panel fund that I'm trying to start in Western Pennsylvania, I said I'll rent my camp equipment, and any money I raise from other excursions will go into the fund. So these excursions are these kayak trips, 4 people at a time. I'm thinking $25 per person for the rental of the kayak and the ride up to the end of the road. You park your vehicle down at my grandpa's. I show you some landmarks so you know where to pull off when you get to the end of your kayak trip. I drive you up to Carlton Bridge, drop you off, help unload the kayaks. I load the kayaks, I unload the kayaks. $100 a pop, $25 per person, and you could make individual checks for $25. I'll open another bank account at Northwest Savings Bank if this catches on in Franklin, and deposit that money, and I won't touch any of that money, and hopefully I can talk to an accountant at the end of the year, and all of that money that I've received from the kayak excursions will go into the nonprofit to either develop the website or fund the solar panel installations. So I could do 2 of these a day, $200 a day on good days, so $1,000 a week or something. I could live off tips off of that, maybe cash tips. I don't know. I have, as I said, I have disability payments for now, and I'm able to live off of those. And I have other streams of income if that shuts down. I have side projects that are less than $950 a month. I'll disclose that as self-employed. So I have some painting projects lined up to supplement my income a little bit this summer. So I can donate that money to the nonprofit. It's going to be $2,000 or $3,000 to establish a nonprofit, so on and so forth. But that's my proposal, kayak outfitter. So contact me. My phone number, my cell phone number. There's little signs on all 19 campsites down at French Creek Farms, and the cabin and the cottage. My phone number is written in there as the office phone. So drive up from DC, take a picture of one of those signs. Ken's number's on there as well. Call me on my cell phone, say I'm interested in kayaking French Creek, and I'll pencil you in, schedule you in for a trip up to Carlton Bridge. Again, you could pay me cash, or you can pay me with checks, so that we're pinging bank accounts. You're showing support for the fund. Supercomputers might take notice of that. Secure your bank accounts, so on and so forth. This cuts out Amazon out of the equation, even though I think they're a solid technology company to try to collaborate with in some ways, because it justifies the entire system. But anyhow, Kayak Outfitter. I'll be camping some at French Creek Farms. I'm going to set up my equipment down probably at Site 19 or something like that, off of the water, sites that nobody hardly uses after Memorial Day, or probably after our trip to Europe. And you know, I'll be camping down there. If you don't want to camp at French Creek Farms, you just want to go for a kayak trip, come up for the day, go for a kayak trip. If you want to camp or you have an RV, again, Vacation Land is a great place to go. They have swimming pools, they have an arcade, they have shower and bathroom facilities, multiple. They have cabin rentals, and it's close to Utica. You can come down and kayak for the day. There's a bike trail up there. So, something to consider. There's also hotels in Franklin, Meadville, so on and so forth. So, contact me if you want to do a 4-person kayak trip or a 2-person kayak trip. I'm available, and that's my hustle for the summer, to raise money for this nonprofit. If you'd like to be on the board of the nonprofit, let me know. If you're a technology person, can help build the website platform, contact me. Alright, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Join me possibly Thursday or Friday when I write down some other current event news things. Again, supercomputers, we might want to look into Minnow and his satellite operations, how he owned them, what type of system he set up for the ownership of these satellites, how they are publicly or privately owned, things like that. Thanks for watching, and join me next time.